Hey folks, Shawn Plummer over at the Annuity Expert again. In today's video, we're going to answer the question, do annuities have required minimum distributions, aka do annuities have RMDs? We're going to talk about the rules for the RMDs, how they can be applied, what RMD Friendly means, and maybe help you find some ways to offset those RMDs if you don't need them because you're well off financially. So getting to the question, do you have to take RMDs from an annuity? Well, it depends on the annuity. If you have an IRA annuity or some sort of qualified annuity, yeah, you got to pay RMDs at age 73. And I think in the future it'll be 75. But yes, you have to pay RMDs. If it's a non-qualified annuity, meaning it was funded with cash or came from a previous non-qualified annuity, no RMD. If it's a Roth IRA annuity, no RMDs. It follows the same rules as the IRS. So if you had a typical IRA, you follow the same exact rules. However, there are some nuances. Usually the IRS doesn't care where the RMD comes from as long as it equals the amount of the dollar amount for the RMD for that year. So for example, if you had like 10 IRAs and those 10 IRAs RMD equaled $50,000, the IRS typically doesn't care where that $50,000 comes from out of those 10 IRAs. So you can withdraw from one IRA, you could spread it equally from all 10 IRAs, or you can do 5 IRAs, as long as the dollar amount of $50,000 is withdrawn for that year, okay? If you have an IRA annuity, it's a little bit different. So for the most part, an IRA annuity, when you take an RMD out, it's good for that one account, okay? So I'll give you an example. Let's just say you have the 10 IRAs and 9 of them are just traditional IRAs, and then one of them is an IRA annuity. You don't necessarily are able to take the RMD dollar amount for all 10 out of that one. Can it count to the others? Sure, but the one annuity count is not responsible for all 10 of them, which leads into the next question is, are RIA annuities RMD friendly? Most of them are. What that means is if there's any scenario where that one account, and this is why I bring that up prior to telling you what RMD friendly annuities mean. There's a provision in a lot of annuities that say, hey, if your RMD amount is for whatever reason higher than whatever your penalty-free withdrawal amount is or your lifetime withdrawal amount is, they'll bump it up for that year to fulfill the RMD. But it will only be for that RMD for that one IRA annuity account. So in the example of owning 10 IRAs, and you want to try to get a higher income from that IRA annuity because you want to fulfill all 10 of those IRA accounts, you can't. But if your RMD amount for that one IRA annuity that you have, and you have to take RMDs from it, they'll bump it up for that one account. Okay, so know that in most annuities there are provisions for that. Let's see if there's any other questions. What happens if you don't take the RMD? There's a penalty from the IRS on the missed amount. Yeah, all the other rules follow IRS. So just if you know the IRS RMD rules, then you should be fine. If you're taking income from your annuity, RMDs shouldn't be an issue. But if you're not touching your annuity, your IRA annuity, that's when RMDs become a problem, which leads into like, hey, here are ways to offset that. Well, I mean, you're 73 plus years old at this point, right? So some options I typically include are, and it varies based on if they're still married, if they have kids, whatever. So I'm just giving you some ideas. So you could take the RMD. You don't need the money because you're well off. You could go and fund more life insurance. I mean, we offer life insurance up to age 85. So, I mean, you could do that. You could roll it into a bonus annuity and get a bonus to offset the taxes you paid on the RMD, and then it'll be a non-qualified annuity at that point, and the only time that you have to pay taxes on it is when you and your spouse pass away, and you can continue to defer the taxes. And then your beneficiaries, let's just say your children, they'll have to pay taxes on those gains over, either a lump sum or up to a 10-year period. I think it's a 5-year period. Anyway, you could roll it into another annuity with an enhanced death benefit. And that enhanced death benefit will preserve the original amount. So there's two ways you can go about the enhanced death benefit. So the one is if you're in an annuity and you don't need the RMDs and you're just in a typical IRA annuity, I usually say, hey, you either keep it there and you do fund life insurance, or put it into a non-qualified bonus annuity, or exchange it for an annuity with an enhanced death benefit. And then when you do that, the idea is that you can withdraw your RMDs and still preserve the original investments plus interest for your beneficiaries. So for example, there's an annuity out there that gives a 50% bonus on a death benefit day one. Okay. The caveat is the beneficiaries have to take, the non-spousal beneficiaries have to take the death benefit over a 5 or 10-year period. Okay. And so let's say you have $100,000. Let's say you have $1 million since you're well off. You have $1 million annuity with this enhanced death benefit. You're going to get a 50% bonus. Your death benefit day one becomes $1.5 million, and you start earning interest on that $1.5 million. You're still married. You die. Your spouse is the primary beneficiary. They can pick up that contract and keep continuing it. And all the while this is happening and owning this annuity, you can take out your RMDs, and at the amount and the frequency of taking out the RMDs, your original $1 million that you put into that annuity is still staying preserved, because day one you went from $1 million while you were alive to $1.5 million for your beneficiaries, right? So you're spending down an extra $500,000 towards that RMD, plus you're earning interest. So the idea is you exchange it or roll it into this enhanced annuity, enhanced death benefit annuity, withdraw the RMDs, do whatever you want with the RMD, and then while it's earning interest, you're preserving that original amount as a death benefit for your spouse or for your children. You die, your spouse is still alive. They can use spousal continuance, continue the contract, and not pay taxes, and continue it as if you're still alive. And then RMD rules will apply to her when she gets RMD age, if she's not there yet. And then when she dies, tax deferral stops, and then the children inherit the money over a 5 to 10 year period. And they're going to want to do that anyways, because they don't want to get bumped up into a higher tax bracket. And they're going to, in almost every scenario, end up in a better situation they were if you just had the $1 million and you're just taking the RMDs from it. So there's that's typically what I recommend doing. The other way, if you're spending RMDs, I recommend investing in some sort of long-term care insurance. Traditional, I'm not a real big fan of, because they're notorious for hiking up the cost the older you get, to a point where you can't even afford it. And then you have to cancel it and you don't get to use the benefit. And then all the money that you paid for traditional long-term care insurance was a waste of money. Or you could use the RMD to fund what's called asset-based long-term care insurance. And that's usually in the form of a life insurance policy or an annuity. And there's typically minimal medical underwriting, usually like phone interview to make sure you don't have dementia or Alzheimer's. And they'll do a medical and prescription drug history. And then based on that, they'll give you some sort of long-term care benefit designed around a life insurance policy or an annuity. I think if the government's coming out and saying 70% of retirees over 65 plus, that's a pretty high probability you're going to need some sort of home health care in the future, or assisted living or home health care. And most people think Medicare is going to pay for it. It's not. And people think, well, I'll just get in the Medicaid program. Well, that's problematic because the state would want you to spend all your assets towards long-term care expenses until you go broke. Then you can get into the program. Why the hell would you want to do that? Right? So, yeah, use a bonus annuity, annuity with an enhanced death benefit if you don't need the money. Use the RMD to fund life insurance. Use the RMD to fund long-term care insurance. And it'll help offset some of those taxes in a certain way, right? I think that's it for the questions on the RMDs. If you have any questions about it, or you have a specific scenario that you want to go over, go to your favorite search engine, Google, Bing, Yahoo, type in the Annuity Expert. We'll show up. Or you can call us directly at 770-755-1565. I hope this helped answer some of your questions. Hope maybe it inspired some ideas out of this. That's the whole point of these off-the-cuff videos that I make. Like, none of this is scripted. But if there's a way that I can help you preserve your assets while taking RMDs, man, I'd love to help out. So like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll answer questions in the commentary. So do that. But we'll catch you on the next video. Hope this solves some of your problems, and hope you have a great day. Thanks.